Good people, not so good people. You decide which one you fall into. This is your man, Cool McCain, and we are back for another episode, the Courtside View. And I am joined today by the man, the myth, and the legend himself, the Con Man. Con, what's going on?
What's good, cool man? Good to be on the show tonight. We're gonna keep it popping.
You already know. We don't know no other way, so we don't even know another way. All right, so lots of things have happened in the world of the NBA, right? So we're gonna talk about them. So, uh, had a little deal that took place. Um, the Miami Heat traded for Terry Rozier. The Charlotte Hornets received Kyle Lowry and a 2027 lottery protected first round pick. So, what that means for y'all that may not be aware is if this pick falls into the lottery in 2027, it's going to defer and cause the Hornets to get two second round picks the next two seasons instead of that first. So just to put that into your minds and help you understand, if you have a protected first and then that pick doesn't convey because of the protections, it turns into two second round picks. So we could essentially be seeing the Heat get Terry Rozier for Kyle Lowry and two second round picks, but the Heat is not a team that's normally in the lottery, so they'll probably end up conveying this pick. But either way, we'll treat it as if the pick is going to be conveyed as a first. So, Con Man, we'll start with you. Your thoughts on the Hornets getting rid of Terry Rozier and then getting back Kyle Lowry and the first pick, and then the Heat receiving Terry Rozier.
You know, cool. I think on one of the last shows when we're talking about, maybe trades, with the trade deadline, I didn't mention it, but I always had Terry Rozier, Scary Terry, in the back of my mind. Because he's one of them to have them dog. He played very well for the Celtics. He just was part of that move. That's why they shipped him off to Charlotte. But I think that it's a great move for Miami. To me, it's now. Miami said, we got to do this now. Kyle Lowry's 87 years old, so we're going to get rid of his money. We're going to send him to Charlotte, and a good move for him. I think that Miami's in a win now mode. They figured he was going to add a little bit more defensive ability. Plus, he's younger, and I think they felt that it was the right move to make at this right at the right time. I think he's going. And right now, he's still trying to get his feet a little wet. I think he's going to be a great addition to that team because you know how they are at the end of the year. They're always tough. As far as shot like you made the number 2027. Miami, what do they care about 2027? It's 2024. So they're about winning now. Obviously, that's what they made the move. And I think Charlotte knew that they weren't going anywhere. So they're looking for the future, whereas Miami's looking for right now.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Now, also, just to add to this trade and the intrigue, the Hornets are working on retrading Lowry. Lowry's contract expires after this year, so they're looking to retrade him and even other pieces from this team to acquire more draft assets, a la what Oklahoma City has done. So
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Lowry will probably either be moving to another team or be bought out.
Ooh.
So yeah, I don't think we're going to ever see him actually play in a Charlotte Hornets uniform.
Wow.
So yeah, just another piece of that.
Okay. Mm.
Yeah. So for me, I love this for the Miami Heat. Rozier's contract is a problem, but you can always figure ways around that once you get, to the off season. Maybe redo the contract, get him some extra years, maybe get the money down, whatever. You can figure things out. They don't want to hit that second ceiling of the luxury tax, which is where
Right.
they'd be if things stay as they are right now. But you can see them move on or let some pieces move. We'll see how that goes too. This is a good compensatory trade since they weren't able to get Damian Lillard. As we see, one thing about Lillard as well that you mentioned about Lowry's not the same he was, 2 or 3 years ago, a little bit older, doesn't play defense as well, doesn't really care about that side of the ball too much.
What?
I think Rozier's a guy that he'll get after it on the offensive side, but he'll also dog on the defensive side.
I
You know,
agree.
And that's what, if you're gonna replace Lowry, you want to replace him with a younger version of him. And I think they successfully did that with Terry Rozier. Obviously, both teams felt as if Terry Rozier was the main piece here because you traded a first and Lowry to get Rozier. But as you said, the Heat are trying to win now. Lowry's going to not really be a piece that can help on that level anymore. Rozier will be. So kudos to both teams. I think, I say this on every show I've talked about this. I have ridden the Hornets into the ground, talked cash money about the Charlotte Hornets.
Right.
You know, live in Charlotte. I hear this stuff every day. Where kind of what happens with this team. I have talked cash money, but I will acknowledge they've done a good job. I can't hate on the team when they're doing a good job. So kudos to them on doing a good job with this move. I hope they continue to get rid of some of these other pieces that are not being productive. Blow it up and start it over, man. But you're gonna have guys you bring in anyway. Nobody's coming to Charlotte. Nobody's saying, "Oh, I'm a free agent. I'm going to go play for the Charlotte Hornets."
No, they haven't.
Yeah, Charlotte. I mean, it's like I'm a normal person, so Charlotte, it's fine.
Yeah.
But if you're someone that's a professional athlete, somebody with a lot of money, you probably want to be in like Atlanta. You might want to be like in DC area. You know what I'm saying? Florida, Tampa, Miami, whatever. You're not picking Charlotte.
No.
Hey, people have to be aware of that, understand that. But even that being aside, the one truth is you understand that you don't have everything you need. Terry Rozier is a costly piece.
Yeah.
And you're not winning with him. So you might as well get some things back for him to help with the rebuild that you're inevitably going to have to do. You're going to have to do a complete teardown. The only player you can keep is your rookies. Everybody else you really need to kind of start shelving out the door, including LaMelo Ball, because he can't stay healthy for you. But that's another story for another time. The ball boys have not been very healthy. So
No.
it definitely sucks because not bad kids, but just haven't been healthy. So the other trade, of course, we talked about, which was the Siakam trade. So we also had a couple of coaching moves. Right, we had Wes Unseld Jr. get, and I'm going to do like I did before, promoted to the front office from a bad team, the Washington Wizards. Con, what do you think about that?
Well, first of all, you just said Wes Unseld. Wes Unseld is a legendary figure with the Bullets. He won a championship with them as well, playing alongside Alvin Hayes. Do you know that he's been like a mainstay in that organization for so many years? So now, as you said, promotion, we know what that really means. In the system, out of respect due to Mr. Unseld himself. So that move was it was bound to happen. Washington's in a tough place. I mean, they're terrible. So as you said, the promotion, they said, look, we got to get rid of him, but we also got to save face with Mr. Unseld. I think that's where that move came about. Now, who they're going to get in his place, I don't know.
Completely agree. Completely agree.
Oh, I have to interrupt you 1 minute. Luka's got 67 points right now. And there's 3 minutes and 58 seconds left to go in the game. He's got 67.
And he gonna fire up 3 more threes before this game over.
They're up by 4 right now, so I didn't mean to interrupt you, boss. But
oh no, you good. So John says, listen in, con man. John Reeves.
Oh, Reeves. That's the OG, my man, OG.
Definitely. Yeah, man. I completely agree with you with what you're saying. I completely think this is a save face move for that. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes that's what needs to happen. Right? If you get a guy out of a position that you don't feel he's capable for, especially with a bad team, that if you leave him as the coach for the rest of the season, you probably got to fire him when the season's over. So this is probably a good mercy move by the team to just say, we're just going to let you roll and we don't have to worry about it, right? We'll get you out of the position where we're looking at you and saying, what's going on with this team? So, probably a good thing that things happen the way they did with this. I love it because I think it's keeping a guy in the organization that should be there, because you can't fault him for what's happening on the GM side of the things. You're bringing in guys. I'm not saying you're not trying to make moves. They're just not good moves. Right? It's just not good moves. It's another blow it up, start over.
Yes, I mean, they're 7 wins and 37 losses. Yeah, I think it's about time to blow that up. For real. It's about that time.
With some nitroglycerin.
Yes.
So, yeah, a lot happening there, man. A lot happening there. And then, of course, the big move, Adrian Griffin, Milwaukee Bucks. Gets fired on what, Monday?
Yeah.
By Wednesday, his mentor, the guy that was helping him develop as a coach, Glenn Doc Rivers, is the new head coach already. So, Kai, this is one I got to hear how you feel about it. I've got to hear how you feel about it.
Cool, I'm very upset. I'm highly upset with the move that they made and the way they made the move. Sometimes it's not what you do, but it's how you do it. I'm very upset because, first of all, they really kind of embarrassed Mr. Griffin. He's played 16 years in the NBA. 16 years as an assistant coach, 9 years in the NBA. Was prior to him getting the head coach job, they were talking about him like he was all that the last 3-4 years. They were 30-13. Not bad. What happened was they obviously lost a lot defensively, but look what they gave up. They gave up Holiday. They picked up Dollar Dame, but he plays defense like a dime. So, I mean, they're going to lose on the defensive end. So
like
they knew that. They knew that going into it. So what did they expect? And I just honestly think that, how many teams are like the Detroit Pistons or Charlotte or the Wizards would love to have a 30-13 record. I know they had high expectations for the Bucks because they got Lillard, and of course, but I just think the way that it was done. I'm gonna give you a little thing about this. I'm gonna go off base a little bit.
Do you think?
He came in quiet as a mouse, and because he's had an outstanding career, but sometimes when you are that great, sometimes your ego gets in the way. And I'm gonna keep something real what you don't know. There was a guy by the name of Bonzi Colson. He's from out my way. He was All-American at Notre Dame. Injured himself. He was first team All-American, and he didn't get drafted, but he got to play with the Milwaukee Bucks. And he played it's about the year that they went to the playoffs with the Celtics. He was on that team at that time, and he was doing work. But it came down to him or Giannis's brother. Who do you think got the position?
Giannis's brother.
So I'm just saying. And now the feedback is Giannis's brother and Griffin had a little bit of a beef, allegedly. So I just don't like the way it was handled. I mean, I think he should have got a better opportunity. I mean, at 30-30, things could have been ironed out. They could have been worked out. And I don't know how much say Giannis had in it or Dame. I don't know. I just don't like the way it was done. I think it could have been done on a more professional level. They basically said, you're out. And maybe and by the way, I also did a little bit of research too, Cool. He would be calling plays, and Giannis would be like, no, we're going to run this play. We're going to do it this way. So therefore, they lost respect for him. And what effect that might have had in the locker room, on the bench. So, I mean, obviously, they have a little bit more issues that they got to iron out. But to answer your question, I did not like the move. Doc Rivers, I knew he was going to take it because, first of all, he's going to make a lot more money. It's all about the Benjamins. So I knew he was going to take that opportunity to do it. Plus, it goes right to a team that's already in a winning mode. He might not have taken that if it was the Pistons or the Wizards, but Look who he got. He got the best of the best right now. So of course he's going to take that opportunity. But I think, to be honest with you, I think that was a bad move. Improper time. I'm not happy with it. I think Griffin got a raw deal, and that's my opinion. I don't know what y'all's is, but yeah, I'm very upset with that.
Yeah, I also don't like the way the move happened. I don't like the fact that the stars are acting like they had no knowledge of it, right? Um, if you're a star player, if you're a Damian Lillard, you're a Giannis, even if the Thanasis, because of the pull that he has in the back office, being Giannis' brother, um, you don't make these moves without that. But keep in mind, there's something else I want to go back to that I think people have forgotten all this. Who wanted Mike Budenholzer go? Who wanted Adrian Griffith to be the coach of the team?
Right?
That would be one Giannis Antetokounmpo.
That would be
So
correct.
you had a guy come in and you bailed on him after 43 games that you wanted because the organization went to you and asked you who you wanted to be the coach. So they
Mhm.
asked you who they wanted, but you mean to tell me they didn't ask you if you wanted to keep him? Something don't add up.
It don't. And you know something? You know what don't add up? Stop all of a sudden up and bounce. That must give you a hint. But he must have knew what was going down. Why would he leave? Something must have been going down for him to just up and leave. I think it was after 10 games or how many games it was. He maybe it was during the exhibition. He out. He said, "I'm
Yeah,
out."
they try to say that Griffin forced him out, but Griffin didn't have the power in that organization to force
Yeah.
nobody out. So
No.
I'm not buying that. Um, Key
Mm-mm.
says, "What up? What up, Key?"
What's up, boss?
And then Key says, "Khan is a busy man today. Laugh out loud."
Yeah, yeah. Mm. I have show number 3. I'm doing one of your numbers, cool.
There you go. There you go. You know, this show number 2 for me. So the other thing for me is what happened to allowing the guy time to perfect the craft. You knew that there was going to be growing pains with a new coach.
Of course.
So, and the other thing I don't understand is you got a coach in Boston. I forget his name at the moment. That is completely clueless, but he's had a job for multiple years, and you getting rid of a guy and Adrian that Griffith that you didn't give half a chance.
Not at all.
And the best team in the East is terrible at coach.
Yep.
Terrible. If they want to win a championship, they got to go. And I don't even like Boston, but I'm just being honest.
You're right. I agree. I
Yeah,
don't like.
but this is the guy you get rid of, and I mean, when we see this happen, Con man, the people this happens to, and this is where some people might get mad, but I don't care. When we see this happen, it's always people that look like me and you. The last half a season to be gone.
Bottom line, straight facts. Straight facts.
It's never the other people. It's always the ones that look like us.
Yep. Absolutely. That's
So
fact.
if you're not going to give a coach a full season, what's the point in hiring? If you're not going to say, you know what, we might have some growing pains, and number 2 in the East, we weren't talking about a team that was fighting for a playing spot. We talking about a team that was 30-13.
Yes.
Something smells fishy.
It's just not right, man. I don't know if we ever know the whole truth, but it just, like I said, it's something's fishy. Some just don't sound right. 30-13.
Yep.
Crazy, man.
So we are going to continue on here, and we are going to discuss the All Stars for 2024. The
Mhm.
starters have been announced, not the whole teams yet, but the
Right.
starters.
Mhm.
So the captains of the teams, LeBron James and Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yep.
I think there's no surprise. We're going to start with the Eastern Conference. So besides Giannis, we have reigning and defending league MVP Joel Embiid,
Mm-hmm.
All-Star mainstay for the next 8 to 12 years Jason Tatum,
Mm-hmm.
first-time All-Star Tyrese Halliburton, and Damian Lillard. So we'll stop there, Con. Your thoughts on the Eastern Conference starters. Do you feel there's anyone that was snubbed? And if you do you feel like there's anybody who they should have taken their place? Of well, who would you put in over somebody else?
All right, I'm gonna give you two ways on this one,
Okay,
if I can.
have at it.
Uh, First and foremost, cool. We know the fans. It's the fans' game. It's fans' choice for the most part, and they have 50% say in who are the starters, and the players have 25%, and the media have 25% as well. So if you look at it from that perspective, Lillard coming from Portland west to east, I think that it's been kind of shaky. He's been up, down, up, again, expected. New team, new environment, new coach. I think that's what expected. But to be honest with you, if I had my issue, I would have had Mr. Brunson from the Knicks. I think he has established himself. Usually, when you have big trades, like when he went from Dallas to the Knicks, a lot of times it don't work out. In this situation, it's worked out even more. I think it's more, either him or Maxey. Maxey's having a phenomenal year, but if you look at it from a objective point of view, you got Giannis. He's already with the Bucks, and if you want to diversify the All-Star game, you kind of like players from different teams as well. So you got Giannis, and now you got Lillard on the same team in the East. I think maybe Brunson or Maxey should have got it. But at the end of the day, cool, they're going to get picked because the coaches picked the reserve. So I think Brunson and Maxey will be on the All-Star team anyway. And at the end of the day, cool, unless you're one of the real superstars, a lot of people come off the bench and have a lot of playing time, depending upon. So to me, I think it's more of a fans game because who starts and who. At the end of the day, it's who finishes. That's my thing. And hopefully, if they have a competitive game, then it could be very crucial. But if they go, playing like they do the NFL Pro Bowl, some wacko stuff, then it don't really matter. So I have a problem with that. I think that Brunson and Maxey probably should have got the starters. But again, it's the fans vote. So gotta go at their choice. If the Knicks had more people voting, he'd have got in. If the Philly had more people voting for him, he'd have got in. So with it being a fan vote, the fans got the choice. So it is what it is. But I would probably have had Brunson myself.
I'm gonna give you a different name that should be in the East at the guard position. Drew Holiday. How is Drew Holiday not an All-Star?
That's another one. That's another one.
Steady and force. This Boston team looks like a completely different team with a third guy that could guard anyone 1 through 3.
That's a good one.
First, can make shots, will score points and burst when he needs to, but can defer and still get his. How is he not starting? He's been more instrumental to the success of Boston than Damian Lillard has to the success of Milwaukee. Lillard's had a couple of games that he's helped them win with big shots. But how many times has he gotten a steal? How many times has he gotten a stop for the Milwaukee Bucks?
Not many. But that's a good point. I mean, you're making a good point. Plus, they have the best record in the East. So you got a good point. I can't argue with that. And then also you got Mitchell from Cleveland. And he's had
the only reason that I didn't say Mitchell is because injuries. For me, if you miss games and other guys have been more durable, I can understand you saying let's go this way over this because of injuries.
Right, absolutely right. But you know what's good about it though? Cool. And to be honest with you, so much talent.
Drew gonna get snubbed at all. Drew's not gonna make the team.
No, not at all. He
should, but he's not gonna make the team.
No, I don't think so because you got Porzingis, you got Brown, and you got Tatum. I don't think he's gonna make it.
Yeah, Brown's going to make it. I don't think Porzingis will, but he might, just because there's not a lot of bigs.
And you know
Um,
who picks the team, right?
hmm,
You know who picks the reserves, right?
yeah, the coach.
And who's
Well,
going?
wait a minute. Wait a minute before we start talking too much. Who's going to be picking for the East? That dummy in Boston. He might
Yeah,
pick him.
my point. That dummy in Boston, so he may be one of those guys. You never know. I'm
You
just
never
saying.
know. That's a good point, sir. That's a good point.
Thank you.
All right, and then we will go to the Western Conference.
Mm.
And of course, we have LeBron James.
Yep.
We also have Kevin Durant,
Mm-hmm.
the reigning and defending Western Conference Western Conference and NBA champion MVP Nikola Jokic,
Yep.
Luka Doncic,
Mhm.
and SGA. So, what are your thoughts on the Western Conference starters, Con?
You know, I tell you what, I have no argument. LeBron, if he was averaging 4 points because fans choose, he was going to be on anyway. So you got to let's get that off the rip. Durant's playing very well. He's sort of been healthy. His numbers speak for themselves. Young man from Denver. Enough said. No comment necessary. SA, he's a joy to watch. Very consistent. Remained healthy. Dangerous, dangerous, dangerous. And Luca, especially after today, I think he ended up with 70, 74. I mean, I think the starting five, I think it's pretty accurate to me. I think so. I got no issues with the starting five. Oh,
I love the SGA start. I think he definitely deserves that.
I know you're going with it. Go ahead.
So I definitely think he deserves to start. Luca is a fan pick.
Yep.
Luca's a guy. He plays well. He should be an all star, no doubt about it. I'm not gonna sit here and try to argue that Luca should not be an all star.
Mhm.
But I am going to say, should he be a starter? Let me give you a couple of names to think about in the guard pool.
I know you're going with this one. Good.
There's one particular guy. I don't know how you're gonna sit here and have an all star game and this man not start. Now, I don't care who got to be put out. He's a guard. SGA should start. So you know who I'm saying put out.
I know. I already
And that
know.
would be one young man from Minnesota who has been on a tear.
I knew it. I knew it.
Anthony Edwards. How you gonna not start Ant Edwards? That's what I want. I want somebody got some splaining to do. Ant
I
Edwards deserves to be starting.
I can explain it very easy. You see, I think they gave too much, but then again, it's just a catch-22. You're giving the fans so much. It's a fans game, and we already talked about. You know what I'm saying? So Luca is more of the fan favorite, but as far as actual ability and who should be on it, you can't do no better than Ant. Look how well they're playing. They got the best
And
defensive team.
you know why Ant's not there? Because
Mm,
the fan rank was 5 for him. There's no way you're gonna tell me there's 4 guards in the West better than Anthony Edwards. That's hogwash, poppycock, and
yep.
bullcrap.
I agree. He's
And,
unbelievable.
and you want to know something else? I didn't talk about this earlier, Con man. You want to know how Damian Lillard got in over Jalen Brunson? They both had the same weighted score, 3.75.
Yep,
But
I
the
read.
fans
That's what
voted Damian Lillard third,
exactly.
and they voted Jalen Brunson 5th.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So if they had voted Jalen Brunson 4th, he would have had a higher weighted score, and he would have been in over Damian Lillard.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all name recognition. De'Aaron
Popularity.
Fox.
It's popularity.
De'Aaron Fox has balled out this year.
He's another.
The fans ranked him 7th.
Oh shoot, I'm losing power here. Hold on, I ran out of. Let me go. I'm losing power.
That's all right. While you get that straightened out, go ahead and do a little moving on here. Kind of be back with us here in a few moments. So, for me, I don't have a problem with the people that were picked because I understand that the fans have a big part of it. But I like to point out that I think the percentages need to be more evened out. How about we get 40, 30, 30? Right? I think the fans have a little bit too much power in this process. As fans, we're looking at names. A lot of times we're going through this stuff and we're not even paying attention to who's who. We're just looking at names without looking where people are in. And a lot of people are stuck on focused on football until around the All-Star game anyway, around the All-Star game voting. Once we get through the Super Bowl, then you start to get a lot more people focused on uh, college and professional basketball. So I think we're starting to hit that now. People are seeing, but you've already voted. And people are saying, like, oh man, maybe I should have voted for such and such and such and such. It makes a difference. And it's unfair to the fans to not let them have a percentage of it. I get that. But it's unfair to a lot of these guys. They're not getting in because the fans don't vote them. And then the coaches who are making the decisions are leaning toward guys that they know on their own team. And it happens. Anybody that says it's Dutton, you're not watching. So we're going to slide on into the standings here. The updated standings. All right. So we'll start in the Western Conference. And you know, when we get down, we start with 10 and we move our way up. All right. So at number 10, at 23 and 23, playing 100, 500, basketball, we have the Utah Jazz. Utah is a team on the rise. They've been playing well. They came from way down the bottom of the rankings. They're starting to make their move. Let's see if they can be consistent and keep things going. And number 9, also at 500, heading into the night, the Los Angeles Lakers, also 23 and 23. The Lakers, they're in the top 10 at this point, right? At number 9. Last year, they weren't there yet, and they had to kind of push their way into it at the end of the season. So I do expect them to move up. I expect them to figure out the rotations, make whatever moves need to be made to make this team as the best that it can be. But I expect to see them move up. But right now, they are at 9th. At number 8, we have the Dallas Mavericks. I get why Luka's also a starter, but it doesn't mean I feel like it's the right move. Dallas is 25 and 20. Luka and Kyrie carry this team. They have help, but they're who carry this team. They're the names, they're the faces, they're who people want to see. And rounding off the play-in portion, we have the Phoenix Suns at 26 and 19. Even with their big three, we see holes in Phoenix. A lot of us before the season that really evaluate the game of basketball said there's a lot of holes in Phoenix. They did make some moves to try to get some depth to help their team out. But 100% honest and truthfully, just a lot going on. Just a lot going on. All right, number 6, we had the Sacramento Kings slid down a little bit, but they're still out of the play-in for now. They're 25 and 18. Suns were 26 and 19. I forgot to mention that. What I like about Sacramento is the dog. Sacramento is a team that where they're at, they're helping push other teams down. They're the reason why Houston Rockets or Golden State are just outside the playoffs, because there's so many good teams out west that you can't have a losing streak. You can't be right now. Houston's 3 and 7 in the last 10 games. Golden State's 4 and 6. Sacramento's 5 and 5, so they've at least been 500 in their last 10 games. So when you can be 500 better, it helps you be at the top. Let's just say 5 and 5 from Dallas and Sacramento is the lowest win percentage in the last 10 games for any of the teams that are in the top 10. So a lot of these guys, 6-4, 7-3, 8-2. That's what it's going to take. I don't know if Sacramento's quite there yet. They're still learning how to win. But I tell you what, they're doing a doggone good job of it. And that's the truth. All right, then number 5, we got the New Orleans Pelicans. I think the safest thing we can say about the New Orleans Pelicans, what we know to be true about the New Orleans Pelicans, is given the opportunity they're going to play. As long as Zion Williamson stays healthy, this is not a team that you have to worry about being at the top. They're going to be at the top. They were born to be at the top, almost you would say, right? It's just a matter of Zion staying healthy. Zion does what he's supposed to help his team be successful. They're successful, no questions asked. If Zion's not able to do what he's supposed to as far as staying healthy, that puts a damper on how far this team has the ability to go. But they're 26-18. They're in 5th place now. Obviously, still plenty of time to make moves. They're looking pretty good. And number 4, my all-season surprise, right? Some people say Houston, and while I can't argue with that, my all-season surprise, always and forever, the LA Clippers. The Clippers were a team that I didn't think, number 1, health. They are keeping guys healthy. And we both know the Clippers don't keep guys healthy. Like, the biggest thing we talked about the Clippers for years is health. They're having a good part of the season and somebody gets hurt. It happens. They're only 2.5 games back of 1st place and 4th place. All right, 3rd place, you have your reigning and defending NBA champions, as you can see from behind me, the Denver Nuggets, 31-15, 1.5 games back of 1st. Denver just got mollywopped. They did. They got mollywopped by New York. But guess what? It happens. You're going to have games you go out. Guys don't play well. You're going to have games you go out and everything's just not rolling like the way you want it to roll. It happens. You know, the difference between good teams and great teams is great teams, it doesn't happen much. So, you know, if you're a New York fan, I had one of my boys as a New York fan hit me up after the game last night. Y'all boys got toe up. You know what I told him? Hey, man, it happens. Because I understand there are going to be times where you're going to lose games you shouldn't lose. There's going to be times where you win games people expect you to lose. This is part of it. It's bouncing back. That's what the better teams do. Denver should do that. 31 wins says that they've won a lot more than they lost. So we'll see how things continue to play. All right. And I believe we got the con man back in the building.
Yeah, man, I've been like 5 hours straight, bro. My bad. Now I know what you go through, man. I apologize.
So, Kyle, I was just going through the Western Conference.
Shutting down.
Are you good?
Can you hear me?
No worries. I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear. Kind of looks like it's a little trouble there, so all good. We'll continue to move up here. Number 2, we got the Oklahoma City Thunder, 31-13. Man, Oklahoma City, Chet Holmgren, so many people we could talk about, SGA, so many guys on that team. Young talent learning how to play together as they grow. That's dangerous. That's dangerous to Denver, the Clippers, Pelicans, all these teams out west. I love what Oklahoma City's doing, man. I love the way that they built this team over years, and they still have a lot of draft picks. So they're still a team that can be able to go out and get some other pieces and make some moves for other pieces whenever they need to. You got to love that. You got to appreciate that. And then number 1, in the Western Conference, you got the Minnesota Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards is a beast. He's a different kind of animal. When he was drafted a few years ago, there were questions about his loyalty to basketball, if he really wanted to play basketball or if he wanted to do something else. Well, I can tell you after watching him, I believe he wants to play basketball. And for him to be the guy on this team at the age that he is now with some of the other personalities there, I'm loving it. I'm curious to see if we have another megastar on our hands in Anthony Edwards. We're going to find out. But, hey, he's trending in the right direction. And they're 32-13, best team in the West. All right. So before we end things for the night, guys, we're going to go through the East. So in the East, we have at number 10, the Atlanta Hawks. They're 18-27, 17 games back up first. Atlanta struggling. Uh, you could say so many things, but I'm just going to say Atlanta struggling. Brooklyn's right there at 17-27. Atlanta struggling. Toronto, Brooklyn can move up easily and take them out. Number 9, we got Chicago at 21-25. Chicago's got some pieces, but Chicago's problem is they need Levine, that scoring punch that he brings, and that focus on trying to maintain him that he brings. But he has not done a good job of staying healthy for this team. And even though a guy like Kobe White has really stepped up, you need some other guys that can put a lot of points on the board, that can put pressure on other teams' defense. And Chicago just needs some work. I mean, every healthy, no trades made and healthy. This team's better than ninth. But we'll see how things pan out for them. It's another team, a lot of trade rumors about them in Atlanta. All right, number 8, Orlando Magic, 23-21. Started off strong. They've lost 6 of the last 10. So has Atlanta. So has Miami. So has Philadelphia. So a lot of teams on the wrong end of wins and losses. And what makes this even more interesting, Brooklyn and Toronto both are lost 8 of their last 10, which is why Atlanta has moved up. But Orlando, young, another team is just learning how to win, learning how to handle expectations, learning how to handle teams saying, oh, we're playing Orlando, we got to step our game up. So I think they'll be fine. They'll slide up some, I think, as they get everybody back, as they get a little bit more seasoned through this tough patch of the year. Number 7, we got the Miami Heat. We talked about them earlier. The Rozier move, very critical for them. That's going to give them another young dog that can do his thing. It's hard to find those guys, and when you have one, you don't want to give them up. So I believe that we're going to see a Miami team that's not going to come from the playing game this year. I think we're going to see a Miami team that's going to come from the top 4 when it's all said and done, and that's going to be even more dangerous Miami team. All right, so that rounds out the play-in section. So now we go to the top 6. And I want to say before I go to the top 6, still not really a fan of the play-in, but I understand why it's done. Extra games, extra teams get a chance to kind of be in the playoff mix. NBA gets to make more money. Teams get to make more money. All right, number 6, we have the Indiana Pacers. We know Tyrese Halliburton making his first start in the All-Star game. Clearly, he's making things happen. He's carrying his team on his back. I love it. I love to see it. Whenever you can get new teams that haven't been in the mix for a while, kind of playing well, it's exciting because it brings something fresh. We know the top 3 in the East are. Excuse me. What we're looking at is who's behind them. Number 5, Cleveland Cavaliers. Lots of injuries. Guys starting to get back. Guys playing well together. Cleveland's another team that has top 4 talent and potential. It's just a matter of them consistently playing, having everyone healthy, and continuing to grow together. And they're 26-16, right? 7.5 games back. Indiana's 26-20, 9.5 games back. Miami's 24-21, 11 games back. Orlando 23-21, 11.5 back. All right, so there we go to the current top 4. Number 4, New York Knicks, coming off an impressive win. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games. That's how you move up. Cleveland, same situation, 8-2 in their last 10 games. So you're seeing the teams that are doing better this last few games be the ones that are at the top or moving up. Indiana, 5-5 in their last 10, but still hanging in the 6th spot. New York has a lot of what they need to be a good team. What you would say they're probably missing, if you would say they're missing anything, is the dynamic guy. They were sold fool's gold on a certain guy. and he hasn't performed up to the level that they needed him to. And that's been hurting them. If they could get the play out of him that they should, this team could be even better. But unfortunately, Julius Randle's just never been consistently that guy. And I'm not here to knock Julius Randle at all. But if they could get him playing better, if he would work on his right hand, being able to dribble, finish with his right, and make people have to play him genuinely both sides of the field on the court, man, his team could be even better. So we'll see. But I do believe we can get even more out of this Knicks team. And they're already 28-17, 2 games behind number 3 Philadelphia, 7 games behind first place. All right, number 3, we have the Philadelphia 76ers, 29-14. They're 5 games back. Philadelphia is right where they need to be. I'm not even going to spend a lot of time. We know Maxi's playing well. We've even had some sightings of some of the other guys on this team, but this team lives and dies with Joel Embiid. Regular season, they're going to be here. What we're looking for from Joel Embiid is what happens in the playoffs. So kudos to the team. Love them being top 3, but the playoffs is where everything comes to light for the Philadelphia 76ers. All right, number 2, we have the Milwaukee Bucks. We know a lot of things going on with them, but 31-13, they're only 3.5 games back of Boston, and they still get rid of their coach. So we'll see how Doc Rivers does with his team. It's a team that has championship caliber, but not championship defense. So we'll see how that plays out. All right, and then at number 1, the Joe Mazzulla-led Boston Celtics. I'm not very fond of Mazzulla, but his team gets the job done, despite of him. The 35-10, best record in the NBA, of course, best record in the East as well. Of course, Minnesota has the second best record in the NBA, and then Oklahoma City and Milwaukee are tied for third best record. So very interesting how that worked out. Only one of those teams has to let go of their coach. Boston, Drew Holiday's made a major impact. Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Porzingis, other pieces, they're there all the time. You know what you're getting with them. You know the kind of player that you have. And the talent's working, right? It's working. Like, we could talk about it, whatever else, but it's working. So, for Con-Man, for Key in the chat, and for everyone watching, coming in late, go on, watch from the beginning. Had Con for a while, technical difficulties, all good. But this is the sports wave of the hand. Make sure you ride the wave. There's lots of great shows on Sports Wave Network, lots of great shows coming. If you haven't subscribed, youtube.com/@SportsWave Network. Come over. Make sure you like and share. Make sure you subscribe to all the shows. And we're going to be back to hit you with some more of that basketball heat next Friday. Shout out to my man, Coach Dante. He wasn't able to be on today, but hey, we got it held down for you, man. We out. And also tell 2 of your friends, 4 of your enemies, come check us out. Just because they don't like you doesn't mean they won't like us. Kobe Kane, signing out.